So, of course, here we like to call you guys by name. So, if you're just out there lingering, hey, get in the chat, let us know you're here. Just say hi, all that great stuff, because we want to acknowledge you. So, that being said, Michelle Ray, good to see you. Journey, good to see you. Lisa Keys, welcome. Good to see you. N. Ellis, good to see you. Miss Bernadette Simmons, good to see you. Let me see, who am I missing? Miss Crystal Everett, good to see you. Miss Adrian Walter, good to see you. Sandra, good to see you. And listen, like I said before, if there's anybody else out there, again, go ahead and jump in the chat wherever you are on whatever platform, whether it is on Facebook, whether it's on LinkedIn, again, obviously YouTube, whether it's on X or on Instagram. We want to acknowledge you by name because we appreciate you joining us, because you can be anyplace else, but you chose to be here with us on this beautiful Friday evening, and we do not take that for granted. Also, if this is your first time joining us on a Friday night and you're on YouTube, hey, look in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, locate the YouTube icon and put your cursor over that, and go ahead and click the subscribe button. Also, do not forget to hit that notification bell. Don't just hit the bell, hit the drop-down arrow beside the bell and click notify all, because we look forward to seeing you every time we go live. Brother James Samuel, good to see you and welcome to the show. Listen, man, if y'all don't know Brother Jay, that's Mr. J, God's servant right there, man. So everybody give Jay some love in the chat. Good to see you, brother, and always welcome. Listen, man, we got anything we want to talk about before we get started? Or you guys ready to dive in?
Man, I'm ready to dive in. I'm ready to cannonball into this one.
Cannonball into
it. That's good.
All right, let's do it. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by distractions, struggling to maintain focus on your goals and daily tasks? If so, you're not alone. In our fast-paced world, staying focused can be a real challenge. But what if you could learn how to eliminate distractions, master your connection, your concentration, and align your focus with your goals and purpose? In today's discussion, we'll dive deep into practical strategies for identifying and overcoming distractions, understanding the science of focus, creating a distraction-free environment, building mental resilience and discipline, and ensuring your focus is aligned with your long-term goals. These insights and techniques can transform your productivity and bring you closer to achieving your dreams. We invite you to join our community and be a part of this enlightening conversation. Let's embark on this journey together toward a more focused and purposeful life. Welcome to our discussion on mastering focus and killing distractions. That said, what I would like to do is kind of just throw this first question out there because I think it's important. And before we do so, I want to make sure that everybody knows that on the Empowering Perspective platform, it's called that for a particular reason. Here, we value everybody's opinion, right? Because we believe that everybody is a subject matter expert of their own perspective. So that being said, everybody's thoughts is their own opinions. It's okay to have a different perspective, but acknowledging and agreeing or disagreeing or whatever the case may be is highly unnecessary. So I just kind of want to put that out. So first question in the shoot, gentlemen, for you to tackle. How would you describe distractions and why are they such a concern in the progressive awareness of our identity?
It's simply a distraction. I'll keep it simple and I'll keep it short. It's something that keeps you off of your task or what you're supposed to be doing. And it's a big concern because I ain't gonna hit too much on the identity part yet. I know we're gonna get into it more. So I just want to just say that part of it and how it can really take you off your game and prevent you from getting a lot of things accomplished at the end of the day.
I would describe a distraction as anything that knocks you off the square. But as far as the concern and the progressive awareness of your identity, to be honest with you, I think sometimes your distractions actually tell you who you are in a sense. It's a part of your identity because sometimes it's a part of your triggers. Sometimes it's a part of your thought process. But I believe that your distractions are a part of you, but it is the part of you or the thing that knocks you off the square and gets you off focus of whatever the task or goal
is. I like that. I would say distractions are like those notifications that keep popping up on your phone when you're trying to focus on something important. They pull you away from what you're doing and can make it really hard to stay on track. And so when you're distracted, it's tough to really understand ourselves and what matters to us because our attention keeps on getting pulled in different directions. So managing distractions is crucial for us to stay focused on our goals and figure out who we are and what we want to achieve in life. Because every time those notifications come up on my phone, I get distracted and get pulled from every which way. And then when I think about what I was really my really task was, I didn't totally forgot. And so that's a ding on me because now I can't even go back to it.
I guess I would say, just to echo along with these gentlemen, since I am, they say the oldest one on the page. Back in my primary education days, we learned a noun, a person, place, a thing. Any person, place, a thing that distracts you from accomplishing your goal. It takes your attention away from wherever it is that it should be. So if you're a goal-oriented person, which we're striving to be, and which we all should be becoming, anything that takes your attention away, even for a split second, is a distraction.
Kind of like I was just now. I agree. Like everybody's perspective, I'm totally in line with that. I like anything that takes you off your game, anything that knocks you off your square. I like Brother Gaddy, I like the fact that you said it reveals who you are. And I kind of want to tap into that here moving forward. Somebody said, pull me away, distract me from achieving my, something that keeps me from being productive. So I'm hearing what you guys saying. I'm looking at everything that is actually being put in the chat. And I'm loving these comments, these responses, because I think for the most part, that makes me want to dive a little deeper because you guys are being nice already. And y'all know I don't like niceness. So Gaddy, I'm gonna start with you. You said it reveals who you are. What do you really mean when you say it reveals who you are? Let's start there.
There's a lot of different angles you can take, but I'll just talk about me. Like, for instance, when I'm at work, right, my task is whatever I'm doing at work, whatever my daily task is, plus whatever my boss says. Sometimes I get distracted, but I've realized that I am my own distraction. I can't blame everybody that comes and starts a striking conversation as the cause of my distraction. No, the cause of my distraction is I like to talk. And the more intriguing the conversation is, the more engaged I'm going to be in the conversation, the more sidetracked I am, the less time I have to accomplish my mission properly. So now that tells on myself, I talk too much. That's something I already know about myself, right? So I have to learn how to be able to tell people, hey, I can't talk right now, or answer the question and keep it moving, or whatever is distracting me or going on, because sometimes your distractions are just indicators of the things that tick you, of the things that attract you, of the things that grab your attention. So that speaks volume of who you are. If it distracts you, it's because you care about it in some degree. And so that's what I mean.
I like that. Gentlemen, your thoughts on what Brother Gaddy is saying?
Yeah, I get that. And, even to the end of the question, the part about the identity piece, it also can help, it can slow your progression or your development, and then what he was talking about, absolutely. Like, it is up to us, because there's always going to be distractions there. Distractions are not going to go away. It says a lot about you. You can look at yourself and assess yourself based off of the distractions, So if you're sitting down and you have to write a paper, right, and you're constantly being distracted, whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily. So voluntarily is you clicking over on YouTube and then being in then going through shorts for the next 30 minutes. Involuntary might be, a siren might come down the street and it may divert your attention. That's a distraction, but like, kind of like what he was saying, like I get everything you're saying, because it really can help you kind of determine who you are as a person, at least give you an indication of how you are as a person when it comes to distractions.
Okay.
You said you ain't want to be nice, so I want to get down to, I think And I could say I've grown. So this is overall has been what, a distraction, especially for men, because we're visual creatures. And BBD used to say, it's driving me out of my mind. That girl, hard to find. So when they talk about that big button and smile, that used to be a distraction. It was, whether you see it on, that's why they put it on TV. That's why they put it in the movies. That's why, like, if you go to a normal beach, everybody don't sit up there and look like them people on TV. On TV, they get like, oh, I can't wait to get to the beach. But you get to the beach, you got a bunch of dad bods and stuff. You got a bunch of, other. But that physical nature of the opposite sex can be a distraction, whether it be the soft voice, whether it be the physicalness of her. That can be definitely a distraction, whether it's on TV or whatever. That's why they place it on. When you swiping, scrolling, somebody gonna be bending over shaking. So you got to learn to keep scrolling.
Back to Son of Timothy's point, is it's a realization of who you are as a person. You're only distracted by certain things. Everybody ain't looking at them big butts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If that is what catches your attention and distracts you, that's you. I'm waiting to hear what Brick's got to say, because he popped up. He popped up out the earth and cut his camera back on.
Hey, well, I'm just trying to figure out what Son of Timothy said when he said distractions are who you become. And then Roman comes with the big butts. I'm trying to figure. So, if butts distract me, what do I become, a butt?
I'm so confused right now. I don't know what's going on.
I'm confused too.
So what I'm saying is the butt distracted you because your focus is there. So if I'm at work and I see big booty and it distracts me from doing my report, then maybe I care too much about what's going past versus
big booty.
What exactly. I'm more focused on that than I am on doing my job. So maybe I need to work on myself and not be so focused on the lady. And you get what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you become a butt. I'm just saying it reveals to you that thing means so much to you that it pulls you from what you're doing.
Okay, new rule. Nobody else is allowed to say but. Doggone it. Y'all just say, it's almost like y'all saying it intentionally just to say it. So, okay, let's continue down that, path minus the buts. So going by what Gaddy is saying, and I'm flowing with him, if something of that magnitude, regardless of whatever it is, if it has the audacity if it has the capability to distract me, then what is it saying about me? Is that what you're saying, Gaddy? Okay, that you agreeing with that on? Roland, I got you agreeing. Bricks, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what I was saying. I was wondering if that's my focus, if that's my attention, then is that where I am in life? To the point where I let that distract me, and then guess what? It could be something very important.
I wouldn't say it like that. I think that because James says that, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. So when some of us may think we're strong in a certain area when we're not. So those little things gonna distract us to try to draw us away from our focus. And if we aren't strong enough to leave those things alone, then we'll find ourselves being within that, how Gaddy was talking about. But I think that it exposes the weaknesses in our flesh that we have, and saying we can't depend on that on solely.
Okay, so if I can kind of change the trajectory of that, is it an indicator of what I really and truly do believe? Is that what we're saying? Can I swap? Yeah, can I swap what you're saying out with that right there? Can I swap it out and say that if that's what distracts you, then that is evidence of what you're like, that's evidence of kind of like where you are in your belief system.
I wouldn't say where you at in your belief system. I would say it's where your struggle is. right? And sometimes it can. So yeah, to be honest, I would say it can say that, but it can also say because if I'm distracted by the ladies, right? We're not gonna say the B word.
Thank you.
If I'm distracted by the ladies, that don't mean that I don't believe in the scriptures. It just means I need to work on my struggle with the ladies. I might be more like Solomon in the scripture than anybody else, because I'm more concerned about the women. But that's just something I have to work on. So but I think it can definitely be an indicator of your belief system. Yeah.
And I think it I think it comes down to what we look at and what we consider a distraction too. It's different if I am noticing someone walking past me versus me staring. If I'm over there staring and I'm distracted and I run into a pole, you know what I mean? That's a little bit different than noticing something and getting back on track and keeping it moving. You know what I mean? So I do believe that if I am with someone and that is something that's constantly distracting me, it is an opportunity for me to go inward and look and see where I am with this distraction thing. What is the reason why I am being distracted by this? And it don't have to be a woman. It could be a number of different things that distract us on a regular basis, because for the women out there, they ain't being distracted by women who out there listening. I know we're using that analogy because we're men and it's something that's easily relatable to, but there are a lot of different things out there that we can be distracted by. And one of the big ones is social media. But I know we're probably going to get into that.
Absolutely. So again, I'm not getting off this yet. Because I think it's important that we peel this all the way back. Because I like what Unc said, like we got to be completely honest with what we consider a distraction. And everybody said something that pulls me off my game, something that pulls me off my square, something that pulls me away. Okay. And so just something that catches my attention in passing, that's not necessarily a distraction. That's just me being aware of my surroundings. But if something catches my attention, I stay in and I lock in on it, that is a clear indicator of a distraction. So again, getting back to it, because I need everybody to kind of chime in and give me your perspective. If something has the ability to grab my attention to that magnitude, is that indicative of the evidence? Is that evidence of how much I believe what I'm claiming to believe?
No, I would say that it's a showing of an area of weakness that you may need to work on. I don't think it's overall. It's overall you. I think it's an area of weakness that you have to strengthen, you have to work on. Because if you're focused on something and the smallest things can distract you from where you're trying to go, like when me and my daughters were in the store and my daughter is trying to not eat certain things, so we walked down the bread aisle, and the bread aisle got cookies, got donuts, and all this other stuff. She's like, "Oh, I need to go past this." Why? Because she's smelling the raisin bread, she's smelling the cinnamon buns and all that other stuff. And it's a distraction from where she's trying to go. It's not that she's just however you want to call it. It's that this is a weakness of hers that she's trying to strengthen, and being in the midst of it isn't helping her right now.
Somebody help me out, because I'm sorry, I heard you say the exact same thing I just said. And if I'm mishearing it, I'm okay with that. Somebody telling me I'm mishearing it. But
No,
kind of like what you said.
I don't think you I think we were mishearing it at first. When you restated it just now, I caught what you were actually saying. So yeah, y'all were saying the same thing. The first time you said it, I was right there with Roland saying, but yeah, you're not saying that is indicative of whether or not I truly believe, but you're saying that is it indicative of where I'm at in my belief. And so with that, I would say yes.
Okay. Bricks, your thoughts?
I'm cuckoo for cocoa on this one, man, because I want to say no, because I feel like just maybe everything that I mean, if I'm focused on one thing, it's just me, and y'all can help me out with this, brothers, because y'all more seasoned than I am. But if I'm focused on one thing and everything that comes by me distracts me, I don't feel that, I don't feel it, because that could be anything. That is so broad. Like someone said in the comments, your flesh is weak. So I mean, I might smell a certain smell. I might like it, and I might be focused on that for a minute, and then I might be something else within the next 5 seconds. So, I just feel like, I don't know, maybe no on this one, because I feel like it could be anything within the course of 5 seconds with another something. And so it's just, I don't know. I still feel no. I'm still working with it. I'm wrestling with that one.
No, you're good. You're good. And so it's like, think of something, and everybody has, like, you have this thing that you're really, I don't want to use the word addicted to, but it's almost like it's this thing that once you start doing it, it really grabs your attention, and it has the ability to hold your attention, and it can hold your attention for hours at a time. Something you're working on that's in the direction of your purpose or whatever that looks like. Very little things can distract you from that. And I'm just using this as an example. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Very few things can distract you from that. Now, am I saying that you're not going to take a break? Sure, you'll take a break, because obviously that's what people need to do. Get up, walk around, whatever. And then you may use that time to probably check social media, whatever that looks like. But then once that break is over, you're right back at that thing, because you're laser focused on that thing. Now change the scenario, right? And then I'm gonna use a very simple example to go with this. Change the scenario. It's like, I'm really not investing in this thing. I'm just here. You know what I'm saying? So I might be here, but then I might be doing this at the same time. You hear me talking? Yeah, I got you. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when I was younger, I couldn't stand going to church, to be honest with you. Young boy, but football, when the football game was on, I was locked in. So I'm in church, no joke. And I'm literally looking at the watch, and I'm listening, and it's like, it's a certain point in time. If you ever been to a Presbyterian church, they're very rudimentary, right? It's a certain point in time that I know I'm getting ready to go. So when I hear him say, the doors of the church are open, I'm like, yes, because I know I got about 15, 20 minutes at best before we out. I'm not focused on anything he is saying, because I'm thinking about getting home to watch this football game. Now, once I get home to watch this football game, I'm locked in. People can walk right back past me, and I'm not even paying them any attention, because I'm laser focused. And that's kind of like what we're getting at when it comes down to this. Like Gaddy said, it's not that I don't believe at all. It just helps me. It becomes the evidence. Like when you go and start, research the scriptures, it becomes the evidence that I observe, right? You go back and look at faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So there has to be some evidence that I can see based upon my behavior that helps me to understand how far along the line of this thing that I'm claiming I believe. Therefore, that gives me an indicator of what I need to work on, like they were saying earlier. Thoughts? Everybody good? I'm just saying. Okay. All right. Hey, bring up Michelle's question. I think we may have touched that already. But Michelle said there's so much more and a much broader distractors. Are y'all speaking from a physical aspect? I think distractors from the standpoint doesn't necessarily have to be physical. I think we can be distracted just simply by our thoughts. Our thoughts, like the example I was just giving. I wasn't sitting in front of the football screen, the TV screen, watching a football game, but I'm thinking about it while I'm in church. So our thoughts by themselves can be a distractor. Go ahead, bro.
Can I say this, if it's okay? Can I say this, that it's not a distraction, but when you were at church, but you wanted to go be at the house to watch the game. Mm-hmm. That's something you wanted to do. That's something that's self-induced. That's something inside of you that say, hey man, I ain't trying to hear another Bible verse. I ain't trying to hear him quote nothing. I'm trying to be at home in the game. And so I look at that like this, like, no, that's just something I want to do. That's not a distraction. I really just don't want to be here this Sunday. I want to be at the game. I don't want to get up this morning and put on no suit. Mm-hmm. I want to relax and stay in my bed. So is that a distraction, or that's something that you just want to do because it's self-induced? That's something that you brought on yourself. That's inside of you. That's saying, hey, ain't no distraction. This is what I want to do.
Go ahead, bro.
I think that.
So,
I think that what we're focused on are distractors that hit pleasure receptors in our brain. So it becomes what you like. So it could be food, it could be TV, it could be the game. I'm bored in church. I'm just sitting here. So now something pleasurable comes to me, whether it's visual. So it doesn't have to necessarily be physical in nature. That was just the example there. It could be something that you like I like to do hobbies and stuff, and I'm talking about painting. So if I see something about painting and I'm supposed to be writing, that's gonna catch my eye. I'm like, hold up, I'm supposed to be writing, and I don't watch this thing for 20 minutes online about painting a room when I'm supposed to be writing some things down. It's a distractor from what my mission is at that moment.
Okay, all right. Any other thoughts on this question?
No, I'm just going to repeat everything everybody else said.
Okay.
I got a follow-up question once we get done with this question, though.
Okay, well, very well. Listen, everybody, regardless of where you are, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button real quick. Like I said last week, like y'all like hearing, smash the like button wherever you are so we can go ahead and get this party started, because YouTube like the algorithm and we like it as well. So that being said, that takes us to our first area of concern, which is identifying your distractions, right? And so under that particular topic, the first question that we actually have is, what are the most common distractions you encounter in your daily life, and how did they impact your ability to focus on important tasks?
Look, I'll speak first on this one. And for me, one of my biggest distractions is not being organized. And I know that we look at this and that and turning our head and social media, all the other things. When I'm not organized, I will come here to the computer and I got 15 things that I know I need to do in my head, but I don't necessarily see them. And then next thing you know, I got Facebook open, Gmail open, YouTube open, StreamYard open, ChatGPT open, my Google Calendar open, my 15 things open, and I ain't working on really nothing. I am so distracted by every single thing that goes on because I am not organized. So for me, the answer to this first question is not being organized. And how does it impact my ability to focus on important tasks? It keeps me from being able to focus on a bunch of my important tasks, So I end up writing a whole bunch of stuff down over here. This thing was full this morning and it was in orange. So I end up being able to clearing a lot of things off and going back doing it. But just for me, I think sometimes a big distraction for myself and probably a lot of people is not having organization.
If I can swing at it, I think for me, man, it's social media, and I like the one that I like the most now is TikTok. I know for a fact TikTok is a very big distraction for me, because I can be doing something, and that, like I was saying earlier in our introduction, that notification comes buzzing on there. Man, I'm telling you, I forget about everything I'm supposed to do, and I get right back into to try to see the latest memes or the latest post or who liked my post or this and that third. And so I think for me, it is social media, but it's the main one now for me is TikTok. Facebook doesn't do it for me no more. Instagram is okay, but I know right now TikTok is the hottest thing for me. It's just like I want it. I got to get on it. I need to get on it. I need to jump on it, see every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds. And so, but I think what I have discovered now, it seems like it's becoming a part of me. And so now I'm trying to figure out how do I, like what you said, how do you get to the point where you're getting organized? And guess what? You say, okay, instead of being on there for 4 to 5 hours, let's break it down to maybe an hour a day or 2 hours a day. And I haven't got there yet. I'm stuck.
Make it a reward system. Yep. When you do X, Y, and Z, then you get to watch. You get to get on TikTok.
Get it right.
Bro, I'm just saying, when we adults, sometimes we need to treat ourselves and put ourselves on punishment and put boundaries in ourselves. But I'll let them get back to the question.
Don't worry, we coming back around.
Yeah. I figured
what he said earlier. I remember now. Roland Gatter, what y'all got?
For me, to be honest with you, I would say it's me. It's my mind. Kind of like what you were saying earlier, Coach, the internal part. Uh, and I think that there's also spiritual distractors, but but for me, it's the mental because I really am struggling, and I wouldn't call it a struggle. I'm just unsure right now where my focus should be outside of work, right? Uh, Trying to prioritize what I should be doing, so my mind goes in 100 different places at the same time. Lately, I've been, I don't know, I can't pull myself to social media like that, so that's not really a problem for me. But it really is my mind. So sometimes, kind of like I'm not gonna say it ain't, because sometimes I find myself going to the reels to get my quick endorphin fixing because I can't prioritize in my mind what is my main focus. So it's everywhere. So that's my major distraction.
I would say for me, it's like Naughty by Nature, OPP. It's other people's problems. I mean, because I have a thing where I could be focused on one thing, but the kids say something, they need something, the wife says something, the house needs something. I'm focused on one thing, and something happens, like, okay, now I got to focus on this and try to control it, try to make sure it's right, try to make sure this person has what they need. When instead of letting them walk through this thing, figure it out some, and then come back to it after I've already done what I'm supposed to do. So when it comes to family and relationships, sometimes I can let that be a distraction.
I would say for me, it's kind of sounds similar to what Adrian said. For me, it's not anything phone. It's when the phone rings. So when the phone rings, it could be an appointment, or somebody wanting to schedule an appointment. It could be somebody who has a concern. Somebody needs to talk about something. So for me, I forget a lot of times, and you guys will see it sometimes when we're on TikTok on Sunday mornings. I'll forget to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, or I forget to turn the ringer off. And if let's just say, if I'm on TikTok, the phone will ring. It's like, oh my goodness, I got a phone call. Or I can be in the other room and the phone will ring, and I come right here and see who it is or whatever. Like, if I don't answer the phone, can I not call him back? You know what I'm saying? So I'll stop doing what I'm doing to go get the phone, as though it's a priority and I'm at work and something of that nature. So I say for me, the phone can be a distraction. Um, and I'm loving what everybody else is saying as well, because Crystal said her grandkids and social media. Michelle says she is constantly being exposed to massive amounts of data and code. While this allows me to learn and grow, it is also overwhelming. Adrian says anything on the phone, from grocery pickup apps, food tracking apps, YouTube, just plain talking on the phone. Let me see. James said words with friends. I'm sorry, words with friends and spades. They are my biggest distraction. James, I wonder if you could play spades, bro. I'm willing to take you up on that offer. Let me see. Miss Verline says a distraction can break your whole day. I agree. Just having a thought to add coming to my to-do list from Adrian. And then over on Instagram, Katana says not having a list is a distraction, not having a set schedule. So all of those things can be a distraction. I'm liking this, and I'm appreciating the fact that you guys shared your distractions. Now let's go back to what we just got finished talking about based upon your distraction. Does that reveal who I am? Because I heard organized, I heard social media, I heard my mind, and I heard other people's problems. Does that reveal who I am, or does that reveal where I am within the space of what I believe?
Yeah, the
Yep.
latter. It's we as people there's so many different parts of us, that it would be, I think, a dishonor to capture who we are into one category like that. So for me, it's a very important piece, because distractions, I think I wrote down like with the distraction, I think that if it's not something that you're important or that you have to do, then is it really a distraction anyway? It kind of went back to your thing about the church. It's like, if I don't really want to be in church anyway, am I really being distracted because I want to watch the game? Yeah. You know, if it's something I need to do, if I'm supposed to be listening to this service and I'm thinking about the game, then that is a distraction. So, yeah.
So great point.
Peace.
And keep in mind that we're leading up to the basis of this conversation, which is focus.
Mm-hmm. A piece.
Gotcha.
I think it's just a piece of who we are.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. Go ahead.
My bad. I think it's still yes, right? Because everything that Unc just said is absolutely true, right? But it says something about you, right? All right. Let's say there's 30 different facets of Tawami, right? I just use my first name. 30 different aspects of who I am, and this one thing is my distractor. Well, then that don't mean that it's telling me that I'm weak in everything because this one thing is my distractor. It's telling me that I'm stronger in these other areas. So I need to focus on getting stronger in this one area. So it still speaks to who I am. It just doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative piece. If that's the only thing that distracts me, then I might not be struggling in those other parts. So it still means that those part of me are true, but that also means that those things don't bother me no more, or I'm strong enough in those areas that I can focus there. The other piece is, and I love because I was thinking about this last time when I think it was Britt who said something earlier, but when we talk about maybe I just don't want to go to church on Sunday, I want to watch the game or whatever. It don't, but it still speaks to you as the believer. That maybe I just don't believe that I have to be in a building to honor God. Maybe I don't believe that the church is still like that, and I think getting to that point of understanding what these distractions are. So maybe you said it's not a distraction to me. All right, it's not a distraction to you because that thing that you was focused on wasn't important to you. Being in the church service just ain't important. And now we're talking about whether somebody else interprets that as me not believing. That's their problem. I got to work out my own soul salvation. But I
like that, Timothy, because then that's when it kicks in, because we worry about what other people say. And I think that's where the big factor is. And I'm not worried about what you're saying. Matter of fact, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have some issues. There's going to be some explicative hashtag words that's coming your way, because guess what? I want to be at home watching the Dallas Cowboys win, not New York Giants, not anybody else besides the Cowboys fan. I want to see them win, and therefore, I know I'm gonna get some backlash on this. But anyway, that's where I'm at. And I think
you can see when he says something crazy, right?
Woo! Look at that star, baby. Okay, that's not the moment. But I think I think in society, that's what we do. Why is it a problem if I feel a certain way, and because you think what you feel is right, because in the setting that we're in, like, and I'm going to use the example of the church. We're in church, but I'm not listening. I'm not paying attention, so I might well be at home. But why is it a problem with you thinking, oh, you need to be listening, you need to be paying attention? Well, guess what? If you're paying attention to me not paying attention, you're not paying attention. So why make me feel bad on something that I want to do, or I should feel that I should be at? And I'm done speaking.
So let me kind of steer the ship real quick. So remember, conversations, distraction, focus. That's where we are. When we start talking about other people, we're automatically lost. I think that's kind of like one of the things I want to make sure that we're clear, that we collectively understand. Other people has really nothing. I think Adrian said it best, and I'm agreeing with you, and I'm just going to put it out there. I am my own distraction. Nothing outside of me can distract me unless I allow it to. That's the answer. That's the answer I was ultimately coming up to. It doesn't matter whether, you know, this thing, whatever. Like case in point, if I am at work, then my responsibility is to work. But at the end of the day, how many of us go to work and we'd be on the internet, surfing the internet, looking at, I'm shopping, I'm on TikTok. I'm throwing my sis out there. I'm on the Target app because she said that's her distraction, right? So I'm on the Target app. I'm shopping, like doing all the stuff. Sure, these are things that I want to do, but it's distracting me away from what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think when we go back and look at these distractions, we look at Unc saying about him not being organized. Bricks talked about loving social media. You know, Gaddy talking about his mind. Roland saying other people's problem. Like those are distractions from what we're currently doing. And you know, me mentioning my phone, those are distractions from what we're currently doing. And if we're not careful, we get pulled away from those things constantly over and over and over again. And then you're going to end up being like me. I was shopping for about 3 days straight the other day because every time I start putting stuff in my cart, I got pulled away from it. And I had to laugh at myself along with some other people because at the end of the day, that's what distractions will do. It will prolong the completion of a thing that you're working on. So, you know, when it comes down to this particular conversation as it pertains to maximizing concentration, what we have to realize, like, I don't care what it is, who it is, you know, whatever that looks like. Can I focus long enough on the thing that I'm looking at? Can I channel my energy into the thing for an extended period of time to complete the task within a certain amount of time or whatever that looks like? And I think that's where we have to be at in relation to this particular conversation. Any thoughts, you know, comments or whatever based upon what I just said? Nope. All hearts and minds clear.
Oh, man, I get it. I get it.
And again, it's not me saying that you guys are wrong. Like, you know, y'all know that's how I am. As I believe, let it be unto you. But at the end of the day, what I want people to understand is that there are some people who are struggling, honestly, struggling with focus. So I prefer to kind of spend our time helping. We can talk about all the other stuff later, right? But I want to spend our time helping the people who are struggling with focus because this is a major point. Like this is literally the things that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. And you guys know, like we get medicated just because of focus. Kids get ADHD and all kind of other, you see what I'm saying? So this is why, because we don't necessarily spend enough time talking about focus and realizing where focus lacks at when it comes down to us. So moving on, let's move down to the science of focus, because I think that's important. So we're going to move into the science of focus. Next, what are some of the most effective techniques what are some of the most effective techniques that you've implemented to maintain high levels of concentration? Because we've all identified where we're distracted at. So how are you mitigating it? And what are some of the techniques that you use to do so?
Go ahead.
My bad, man. But for me, it's simple. At least when I'm dealing with stuff at home, right? I get distracted easily by kids, TV. I put on something in the background and then I'd be totally focused off. But I have to learn whatever I'm doing. If I can do it somewhere where there's solitude and where I can block stuff out, I do. So for me, my first major thing would be my location. Can I write this paper in the next room? Can I take this laptop into the garage so I'm not distracted? No pun intended. But that's just kind of like, can I get somewhere where I can isolate? So for me, it's location.
I got a couple. One is go dark, and it's kind of like what son Timothy was saying. And I mean by go dark is get away from all the distractions. Sometimes it means I have to come into the room by myself. Sometimes it means I have to go into the garage by myself. Sometimes it means that when I'm out in the yard, I put my headphones on so I can't hear the neighbors walking by and waving and speaking and blowing the horn. You know what I mean? So I ain't distracted by everybody that walks up and down the street. So sometimes it's just kind of doing that, like what Gaddy was saying. Just sometimes it's just kind of going dark, going in solitude. And my other one, because it did say techniques, I got two, is a reward system. You know, it ain't nothing wrong with rewarding yourself for doing something. You know, most of us got jobs, and when we do good on our job, they give us a paycheck at the end of the month or every couple of weeks, or how often you ever get paid. You know, so I'm a big firm believer in taking care of yourself. So sometimes to help me stay concentrated, to stay concentrating on something, I will just give myself a reward. You know, at the end, I'll say, bro, if you sit down and you knock off these 6 tasks, you get to go and do X, Y, and Z. You get to play with your RC car for a little bit, you know. So going dark and having a reward system are 2 techniques that I implement currently in my life.
I think I would probably say isolation and time limits. So I'm the same. When if I study, I don't need a TV in the room or or anything where I can, search whatever. I don't need it. If I'm reading, I just want a book and a light. I don't want, I used to go in my closet. I got a big closet. I used to go in the closet and sit in there on the floor and just read. But now, like, I will do the whole isolation thing, go off to myself so that I can think, and my sensory, I don't have sensory overload with a bunch of sounds or people knocking at the door or the TV on in the other room and all these things, lights going off. So that, and having a time limit to not force myself to where now my mind starts to wonder what is going on out there. So I give myself, hey, let's do this for 30 minutes. And then if I do it over time for 30 minutes, it may move up to 45 next time. And then I can, it's a building block.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like that what you're saying. Like when I'm really focused on something, like when I used to do plays, I would get away from everybody and I would work for 30 minutes. I would do it 25 minutes going hard, then 5 minutes to myself. And I would repeat that over and over and over and over and over. And what it did for me was it made me learn the lines. If I had a monologue, it made me learn it because I gave myself 25 minutes strong and then 5 minutes break. And within that break, I was able to do it, listen to music, whatever, but then I had to go back to it. And I repeated it over and over and over. So I think that really did it for me. Just keep working 30 minutes, 25-minute work, 5-minute break.
Muted.
My bad. I'm noticing some consistency here, right? Because for me, you're going to hear pretty much the same thing. Like every now and then I got to do a cell phone purge. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't done it in a while, but what I do is I take my phone and put it on do not disturb and put it in another room in a drawer. So I don't see it, I don't touch it, I don't think about it. Now that's very difficult to do because in today's society, cell phones is a huge part of our life. But every now and then I think that's what we need to do. Get away from the cell phone, go dark, whatever that looks like, so that you cannot, so that thing, you're not like chained to it. That thing has become kind of like a chain, a ball and chain that's attached to us. It's so bad that you will grab your cell phone before you grab your keys. So for me, that's one of the biggest things I do. Secondly, when it comes down to all of the things, because Uncle Junior, I have that as well. All of the things that I have to accomplish in a day, because I can literally say, oh, I got this to do, I got this to do, I got this to do, I got this to do. And I think we talked about it before. For me, I have to prioritize what is important. Like I will only prioritize 3 things out of the 10 or 15 things that I got to do. So the other, 12 or so, they can wait. But if I put my focus in these 3 things and then identify which of the 3 is the most important, and that's the one I'm gonna focus on first. If I do that, then what that does, it seems like it takes a lot off my plate because I totally forget, like intentionally, not really forget, but just kind of like put off in my mind. I'm not going to do them today. I may not even do them tomorrow, but I have to finish these 3 things within this time frame that I've given myself. So between those 2 things, like purging myself from cell phone, which, is comparable to do not disturb or putting your phone on silence, whatever method that you use, I think it's important to do that. But I also think that we need to look at priorities and then focus on the priorities that you've established for yourself, because 9 times out of 10, those priorities should be in the direction of the goal that you have established. If you can do that, then you should get to the point to where you're accomplishing your goal at a much faster rate. So thoughts and concerns about any of those things?
Yep, I got one. I noticed that I think everybody, if I'm correct, mentioned something about solitude, going dark, introversion of some sort. It's 5 of us up here, and we're batting 1,000 in that area. And even some people in the comments were talking about mindfulness and different things like that. So is it, coach or whoever, is that a common denominator? Like, is that something that kind of has to happen in order to have focus, that you have to eliminate other things?
Can I re-ask that? Because you're exactly where I want it to be right now. So
Okay.
can I re-ask that?
Yeah.
What is it about isolating yourself from everything else that makes you focus on what it is that you have to do?
I think that isolating yourself puts you in a position to where it's just you and your thoughts. And now you take the thoughts that are most important to you. It's like when Christ went up on the mountaintop by himself to pray. He had to be alone so it could be himself and him talking to the Most High to say, hey, I have a mission and this is between me and you, and I need to be straight on this thing. So, and I paraphrase that, but you get the point. But I think when you get by yourself and it's just you and your thoughts, you can filter out the BS from the actual desires that you want to convey in your life.
And can we be honest? Can we say this too as well? I like that. That sometimes it might just, you get away from everything and your brain can rest. When you're around everybody, your mind is going cuckoo for cocoa. But when you get by yourself and isolate by yourself, and you get in that dark space, that dark room, you can really just, you can say, and you can hear your brain is literally is breathing, inhaling, exhaling. It's like, okay, I ain't got to worry about that. Okay, well, I'm just gonna relax for a minute. And so,
I like it.
I love that, because you say we batting 1,000 out of 5, but if we add I got to be who I am sometimes. But we add our Hamashiach in this. Christ says before he goes through the whole verse 9, our Father which art in heaven thing, not thing, but before he gets there, he says, but when you pray, go into a secret closet, and then when you close the door, then pray. So our location or our environment that we set for ourselves play a major role in how we are able to carry out a thing. I think sometimes we discredit that piece right there, but it's important that everyone has a place where they can shut things out. Some people need white noise in the background in order to concentrate. Some people need to hear certain things. Some people need it to be pitch black. Some people, whatever it is, somebody else put up there when they walk, they cut everything. Some people need to be walking. That's their environment, So it's not just the room, but it's the environment you set for yourself. It is what helps you, and I think we all got to be able to seek that out for ourselves to see what is the environment that we focus, invest, and create that space for yourself.
I like it. I like it. Go ahead.
So you pretty much ask, why does or how does isolation help us focus?
Mm-hmm.
I went on a rabbit hole in my brain a little bit, right? And then because what made me think about it was the comment, that I wrote in there about Shell. So, we both got degrees and stuff, but I remember when she was going through school, we had 2 totally different types of retaining information and studying. She could sit there and be listening to music, and I can't do it. You know what I mean? Only music I can listen to is something that don't have any words in it, and I don't know the lyrics, but she can be there listening and knowing the words and be sitting there and reading the book. And then I remember when we were in the military, I've isolated a lot of times mentally, even though physically I wasn't able to isolate and to focus. But in the military, you have to be able to focus mentally and on our jobs and everything like that. And we don't always have the luxury of being in physical isolation or to be able to physically put ourselves in a space to where we can focus. So I wrote down a bunch of stuff like that. And then I went down at the end that I think for me, it may be even more important that I work on this mind up here and be able to mentally isolate and focus, even if physically I'm not able to get into a space. So that's kind of the little rabbit hole I went down while we were sitting back here, while
Well,
you
it's
guys
not-
were talking.
It's not a bad rabbit hole to go down.
Mhm.
I will start there, and I say that because sure, you have several different techniques for isolation and blocking out distractions, right? And I
Mhm.
love what everybody said. I like the fact that you brought up like all five of us pretty much do some of the same thing or very similarly the same thing. Even over here, Katana does the same thing as well. She said, "Do not disturb" has become her new thing. Um, and so it pretty much sounds the same. In essence, what I kind of look at it is like it's kind of like going outside and you have like a sprinkler system, right? The more heads that you have on that sprinkler system, you're going to have to increase the water pressure for that sprinkler system to work properly. But if you don't increase the water pressure, what ends up happening is that you'll get some flow, but it won't be like the flow that you need to cover your whole yard. I think that's what happens when you do not isolate yourself. You are all over the place. Like you are a sensory being, right? You're getting information through the eyes, you're getting information through your nose, through your skin, all that stuff. So everything that happens around you catches your attention. That's why the worst thing you can do is when you're trying to go to sleep is pick this thing up, because this thing got flickering lights and sounds and all kind of other stuff of that nature. So when you look at it, like you have to get to the point to where you got to get to the point to where you isolate yourself away from the thing, only accept the thing that you're trying to focus on, because all of your focus, all of your energy, and all of your efforts go to that one thing. It's the same thing with goal accomplishment. And we tell our kids, and you guys, everybody on here with kids, if you have a child that want to do something, one of the things that we tell them, say, look, if you really want to do this thing, throw all of yourself at it. Don't just tiptoe with it and try it. If you're trying it, you give yourself permission to fail. But if you focus solely on that and put all of your energy and efforts in that, then you will find your way to success. And I think it's the exact same thing. Somebody had their hand raised. Bricks, I think it was you. What you got?
No, I didn't want to throw a curveball, but I was just trying to figure out. I know how we always say we always give points. Point number one, this, the third. But I was trying to figure out how do you, once you get comfortable in your comfort zone with just like you said, grab that phone, and next thing you know, you getting ready to go to bed, but you grab that phone and you're on there for 2 to 3, 4 more hours, and you're supposed to be asleep 4 hours ago. How do you? It's almost like it's like you know what I'm saying. It's India's journey for you. Like, hey man, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off. No, you don't. And next thing you know, you on there about 4 o'clock in the morning. So how do what? I guess we'll get that to the next level. But I was just trying to, how do we stop? Do we just throw our phone down and throw it away? I don't know. I don't know. But I know you can get to that level because I've been there.
Well, for me, I don't have a TV in my room because the purpose of my bedroom is for me to go to sleep. So, and what I used to have to do, I started out because I was like, I had a remote. I'll see that little red dot on the TV. I would turn it on. And then my therapist said, hey, take the TV out the room. And then I say, okay, the phone is right there. So I would grab the phone and be like this. So now I put the phone on because it used to be my alarm clock. I put it on the other side of the room. So when I go to bed, when I go to sleep, I don't have any of that. Now, phone can sit right there. It don't matter. I ain't looking forward to talking to nobody when I'm going to wake myself up around 5 o'clock and get up. I'm not looking forward to talking to nobody. I don't have to scroll. I think you have to build yourself a tolerance to certain things. And when you take all of those, that's sensory. When your sight and hearing and all that, that's sensory. So when you take that equation out of the those out of the equation, then you learn to work with self. So now when I go to bed, I can think good thoughts, and I'm just going to sleep. I ain't even thinking. My mind's not wanting.
And here's what I like what you're saying, because a phone is just another version of a TV.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts to add to Brick's question? I think it's a great question, by the way.
Yeah. It's a lot of different things. What find something better to do. You know what I mean? Like the extent of your life and experience in life shouldn't be to the extent of your phone. And I'm not saying that to belittle you or anybody else who may spend a lot of time on their phone. But if the most important and the biggest aspect of your life is social media, then what don't you have going on in your life? You're not living. You're just being alive. Go out and live life. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I think people need to do is go outside, spend time doing something else, figure out something else to do besides being on the phone. You know what I mean? We all over here over 40. Did none of us grow up with no phone? We always had something to do. When I was in my 20s and 30s, early 30s, I ain't had no phone. We was out hanging out. We was out doing stuff. Go do something. Go figure out something to do. And I ain't, I don't know. It's just
I'm cutting you off. I do stuff. Hey, my
I don't
phone be
mean it
right.
like
Hey,
that.
well, no,
I don't
but
mean it
feel
like
good.
that.
feel good,
And
but
it's
watch
not a hit at you
this.
either.
I know it's not a hit at me, but watch this. I feel good because my phone be right there when I'm doing everything, and I travel the world, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, so everybody on most everybody on this platform is over 40. Some of us are over 50.
Oh, that's right. He ain't.
Some of us is over 50.
Oh, yeah. And then he's still in his 30s. Dang, Bricks, you in your 30s too?
No, sir.
No, that's the
Oh,
other side. This dude right
Yeah,
here.
other side.
I know. He at the 50.
Yeah, he over 50.
The rest of y'all old. That's
He over 50.
rest of y'all old. I'm young,
Hey,
you know.
hey, so I'm in the middle.
And then,
He went behind the ears. He told me.
but here's another one real quick though. Look, just put boundaries in place. That's a good one too. Like, be on the phone. Just say, look, at this time, I'm putting the phone down and I'm gonna go do something else. Just put some boundaries in place. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah, because if you do that, you'll see who's in control and you'll see whether you're a slave to it or it works for you.
Yeah. You don't want to be a
See,
slave
I
again,
think, but
do you?
Baby.
see, but what we're fighting with is something that takes years of conditioning, right? Because I know people my age and y'all age who are addicted to the social media or to the reels and stuff like that, and so I can't always say, I was born in the 80s and in the 90s, so I'm the last generation that played outside. I'm the last generation that had to come in with the street lights, But though that may be true, but the problem the problem is not that. The problem is some of us don't realize that indulging our flesh is a problem. Some of us actually believe doing what I want to do is a good thing, and we don't know how to the point to where we no longer know how to control ourselves. So chasing that endorphin got me continue to slide into the next video. Chasing, like I'm just saying, but a lot of us get caught. We say these things and it's true. We do need to cut these things out. That's 100% true. But some people just don't know that they're the problem. They think doing it their way is supposed to work.
Let me tell you this, and I know social media is at an all-time high. That's why we keep on talking on social media. But I know when I was introduced to TikTok, man, I used to see people sleeping all night. I mean, they went down at 9 and they got back up. It was about 8. They were still on there. I'm trying to figure out. I said, "Whoa, is this what it is?" But then guess what? As I didn't fall asleep, but I started feeling. Well, hold on, I did fall asleep.
Why you think I lean back in the corner?
I know.
Sitting here looking at you. I'm like, really, bro?
Well,
Listen.
hey, I was tired. I knew I
I'm
was going to
finna tell her you put it out there, so now you got to get the business.
Hey,
Look
look,
at man, y'all know me. I wake up 4:30 every morning, right? And so I'm getting up, about to hit my routine, and I pick my phone up, and something say, "Go to TikTok." I go to TikTok. Brick is in the middle of TikTok, head down. No,
I was praying.
yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yeah, yes, you were. You were praying, all right.
Oh, Jesus.
But I think this is important. So here's why I love your question, because going back to what Son of Timothy said, sometimes we spend so much time with this thing, we become addicted to it. when we get addicted to a thing, we have to have it. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's almost as though like you're still thinking about that thing. You can be at work and it's like, oh, I just spent too much time off my phone. Let me see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And so going back to Uncle Junior's point, because that's the point I was going to make. You got to establish boundaries. If you do not have boundaries for yourself, then what will end up happening is that this thing will keep encroaching on who you are, and who you're trying to be will struggle trying to come out, because this thing here, and I'm only using this as an example. Trust me, there are several others out there besides it. But this thing here will start encroaching on your desire to be the person that you really want to be. And you will struggle getting there because you've devoted so much time to this thing and not enough time to your purpose and your goals. So that's why I really like the fact that you brought boundaries to the conversation, bro, because I was right there waiting to add that as well. And for anybody who's listening, again, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. I think that's important to understand. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person at all. I'm laughing because out the corner of my eye, I see somebody saying the devil, and I can't call their name right now. But
who's saying it, man?
No, I'm not saying. But it doesn't mean you're a bad person by identifying the things that have you captive. But once you identify, you have to put together the plan so that you can start pulling yourself away from it and weaning yourself off of that thing, because that thing will not allow you to move forward. And that's important to understand. Any other thoughts, questions, as we have on what we're talking about right here so far? I think we got one time for one more before we get into our final thoughts. And yeah, I know, right? So yeah, we're skipping all of them, bro. Because we talked
It's
about
like question 3 or something. You're like, wait.
You'll be surprised how many I skipped though. Let's go down to creating a distraction-free environment. And that being said, I think I want to go all the way down to the one about our family, friends, and colleagues. The last one. Yes. What boundaries have you set with others, family, friends, colleagues, to protect your focused time, work time, and how have these boundaries improved your ability to concentrate?
Oh man. So I think for me, one of the boundaries that I kind of set was, in a sense, kind of growing up and just being a lot more direct and not sugarcoating things, right? So when I have conversation with people, I'm pretty direct, and I don't have time for a lot of coddling. Like everybody in my family's, all of my cousins, so we're all in our 40s and 50s and stuff. So at this point, if I give you a simple no and you're offended by it, like I can't deal with it. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? I got to focus on what I got doing and what I got going forward. I put boundaries in on my phone, do not disturb from 10 o'clock to 5 a.m. It helps me focus on what I got to go and help me focus on my sleep. Nobody ain't waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning talking about no BS or did I watch the game last night? So those are a couple of things that I put in, and they just improve my ability just to concentrate overall, because when I get my rest, I can go out and I can concentrate on and focus the next day. When I wake up, I can focus on my workout and different things like that. So just creating those boundaries, no phone calls after 10 o'clock, no phone calls before 5 a.m., except for a select amount of people. So those are just some of the boundaries that I've incorporated in my life.
I think when it comes to phone, I put it on Do Not Disturb, my daughter had it to where I got favorites. So certain people that can get through either way in case of emergencies and such. But I guess I haven't really had to place any boundaries other than if you come to me with a problem that is now an emergency, but you knew about it prior to, don't even bring it to me, because it's not a concern for me, because you had enough time to give me ample enough notification to where I can help with the situation versus me just be reactive to your situation in the now. So I think I'm kind of coarse when it comes to certain things. So they know I stand firm on those. So I don't have issues with those.
If I'm honest, I've been away from home. I would say, what is it, 18 years now? 18, 19 years now. I've been out of New York. Um, Co-workers. I think so what I'm saying is a lot of people don't really enter my space that I don't invite in or want in my space, right? Um, at this point in my life, my best friend, and I use terms like friends lightly, uh, but my best friend uh, is like, what is he, like 40 years older than me? Um, but he he lives 20 minutes away, and he don't come to my house unless he called me first, and vice versa. We don't just pop up at each other's house. But so so the boundaries I had to create concerning others, to be honest with you, were boundaries I had to put on myself. And it sounds weird because I think I have mastered the disposition of don't enter my my space unwanted. And so I have that persona about me. Like, I'm friendly, don't get me wrong, but I'm not, I don't invite people into my life, so to say, that easily. So I had to learn to put boundaries on myself on when to sit on the phone. There's certain people I sit on the phone and I talk with all the time for a long time when we talk because we're probably talking about scripture and I'm trying to evangelize people out of their foolishness and into the truth. Um, and then or or family members because my aunt is 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 sick, and so when people call me, they might be calling talking about my aunt, stuff like that. But I have to tell myself not to sit on the phone too long because my family understands. I had to tell myself not to answer the phone at a certain time, and so I didn't have to put my phone on mute. I know not to answer it. Well, I put it on mute, but not on do not disturb because I know not to answer. I know not to bring it in a certain space. I know not, I try to make sure I understand my boundaries first, and I set those things for myself, and everything else in my life falls in line with
I think it's for me, man. It's to be firm, but at the same time, try to also be kind. And that's something that I'm struggling with. When I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. And you're gonna know that because I'm gonna tell you once, and then the next time it's gonna be a situation. And so I'm struggling with now just being firm, being straight up to the point. Let my yay be yay, let my nay be nay. But at the same time, I'm trying to learn how to be kind on the back end of it. Because sometimes I feel like I gotta go there just for you to understand me. And once we go there, it's too late. And so those are boundaries that I try to set for family, friends, and anybody else, colleagues as well.
Hey, Coach, can I add a quick one before you go clean me up? We in our house, it's just me and my wife, and the kids are gone, and we got the dog. And one of the things that I can get in my office sometime, and I can get so focused on my work that I don't even take a break. So what Shell does is every so often she'll come in here and she'll kind of nudge at me to kind of take a break, right? And she'll do it. She's like, "Hey, babe, you want a break or something like that, right?" And I'll say, "Yeah," but then I'll say, "Give me 5 minutes." So it's kind of like a rule, a kind of a boundary a little bit that I kind of need a couple of minutes before I just break free because I kind of want to get to I may be focused on something. I may need to get to a good stopping point. So before I finish up what I'm, while I'm working on something. So that's kind of a boundary, something that we, kind of a rule, not a rule, but just kind of something that, how we kind of operate around here, at least for me. Now, when I get her, I don't have she usually pretty, she really don't, not that she don't have things going on, but she doesn't necessarily need that couple of minutes all the time to really, she can break free, whereas me, sometimes what I'm doing, I got that mental locked in, and it may take me a few minutes because I want to get to a good spot because I know I got to come back to it once my break is over. So I don't want to be in mid thought about something. So that's one good thing right there. That's a good boundary right there. Just sometimes leaving a couple of minutes to kind of focus on something before you to get to a good starting point before you lose focus. I think that's
Absolutely. I love that. I won't say I'm shocked because as I'm listening, I want to say that what I'm about to say kind of incorporates what you guys are saying because I don't think I've really heard anybody say that they had to really put out any hardcore boundary stop signs or anything of that nature. Because I don't, for the most part, I don't really have to establish boundaries with family, friends, and colleagues. I have a thing to where I say either we are related or we're relatives. If we're related, we don't really talk that much. That's fine. Even the people that got the same, blood running through their veins, we don't really talk that much. Now, the ones that are relatives, not only do I talk to them more, but we're actually working in the same direction and we believe the same thing. Therefore, we communicate a little more. But even with them, they know not to call me after a certain time of night. They know not to call me before a certain time of morning. Like if you call me before 7 o'clock, I'm looking at the phone sideways. I may answer. I may give you the benefit of the doubt once, but Bricks, because you say you're working on being kind. I say all the time, I'm kind. I'm not nice.
Okay, I like
I'm
that.
say it again. I'm kind. I'm not nice. I
right.
do not have a problem extending some verbal language to somebody's direction, and it's not because I dislike them or anything of that nature. I think that's where we get stuck at because we move at the tune of social media, and social media got everybody stuck on. I just want you to like me. Forget that. I actually love you. That's why I need to correct you. That's the difference. So that's kind of like what I want to say there. I don't want to get too long-winded because Adrian asked an awesome question that I want you guys to kind of tap into real quick. So that being said, Adrian's question is, what trade-offs and compromises did you had to make to improve your ability to concentrate and focus? Looking back, was that trade-off worth it?
I think my trade-off was more or less focused on me, and the trade-off was being honest with myself, who I truly am, how others see me, taking that into consideration, and listening to the feedback that I got. Because I could think I'm a cat's meow when it comes to everything, and then I hear something back like, "Hey, Dad, hey, this," and it comes back that I need work, and when I looked in the mirror, I gotta say, yeah, I do need some work. I'm a little short tempered. I'm like this and I'm like that. So those are things that I found myself working on so that I will be a better person.
Yeah, I would say to back that up, what you said, I would say for myself personally, I'm still working on that, Adrian. That's great. That's a great question, but I'm still working on that.
When people ask me like, how do I describe myself now versus back in the day, I tell them I'm a guy from New York, but I'm not that N-word from the Bronx no more. You know what I mean? The essence of who I am, the character of who I am, the way my mama molded me, the way my daddy shaped me, I'm that core person. But there's a lot of things that I took with me from the hood into the military that I had to shed off. So I had to do an overhaul change of myself. And then my focus changed because my priority changed. When my priority changed, I tell people I don't have a heart. I might lose focus on this specific task right here. That's because, someone might bring up a conversation, and Roland knows this, and Coach knows this, that's very important to the thing that my major focus is on. You get what I'm saying? And so my conversation might distract me from doing a report at work or something like that. But that's cool. I tell people, but it is always worth it because my focus is now on the Most High. My focus is on is on the Father. So I would trade myself and my flesh for the Father's will any day. And I'm still growing because there's still some stuff I'm trying to knock off.
So I'm gonna speak on the focus part, not necessarily the concentration, but what trade-offs and compromises did I have to make to improve my ability to concentrate and focus? I had to do what Coach said. I had to do a purge. I had to get rid of people, and I had to relocate. Um, I I did 20 years. I was E1, E2, E3, E4, and E5 twice. I made E5 twice. I got in a lot of trouble. And yes, at the end of the day, it was me. I made all of those decisions. You know what I mean? To do all of those things to get myself in trouble. However, I also knew that I had a problem with wanting to fit in and wanted to have certain people as friends. So I hung around certain people. Again, everything was all on me. So once the trade off, once I got rid of those people out of my life, relocated to a certain duty station and decided that these were not going to be the type of people that I was going to associate anymore, I was able to concentrate and focus more on my career. Once I moved and I PCS from Arizona to Fort Hood, I didn't get in any more trouble, so for me, that compromise and trade-off was well worth it. It was well worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was able to progress in my career and retire after 20 years because I decided to get rid of those people out of my life. And those compromises and trade-offs were well worth it.
Yeah, I'm loving everybody's point of view. And Bricks, I really do love your transparency there. I would say, because Roland, I don't do compromise. I would say what I needed to do is I needed to sacrifice my ego sacrifice my ego and who I thought I was so that I can actually adopt what the scripture said that I can actually be. Once I did that, then I realized that the limitations that I placed on myself back then never existed. And then that kind of gave me the liberty to kind of expand and do the things that I really dreamed about doing. And so for me, was the trade-off worth it? Absolutely. I just wish I did it sooner. But I do not like reject, or I'm not disappointed at the lessons that I learned all the way up to that point, because I realized that those lessons were vital and those lessons actually went into creating me to be who I am. So I'm loving everybody's perspective, and I think everybody's pretty much saying the same thing, but we're just saying it in a different way. Once I laid down that ego thing that fought for this flesh, once I laid that down, then I realized that, you know what, that never was who I really was in the beginning. That's just who somebody taught me I was. That was my big epiphany for me. So great question, bro. I hope we answered your question. I know you said there was, no wrong answers, but we want to make sure that the question it received its just cause, and I think it was a great question. Listen, as you guys know, man, we coming up on that time, and that kind of takes us to our bittersweet moment. So I didn't give an order. That's on me. So we're gonna start off with Bricks in the building first. we go.
So my last closing remarks, man, is this, man. I think we have to get to the point in life where we have to let our brain relax, man. We have so much stuff that's going on around us that's mind-boggling our minds. We have to take a rest. We have to get some sleep at night. We have to eat right. We have to eat healthy. We have to get back into just focusing on what we want to do and what's very important. So I think, hey, again, we just need to just focus on just resting and let things be what it's going to be. But I think that's the main thing for me is I got out of this tonight was rest, relax, and then move forward.
Um, it's crazy to me when I start thinking about things that distract me or that I'm not focused on, because it's always the things that I really don't want to do in the first place that I tend to struggle with keeping my focus on. right? But we have to. So I always try to learn how to prioritize where I'm at, because not everything that I have to do is things that I want to do. But some things that you have to do, you have to learn how to set self boundaries first, and then push forward. But everything should be in line. And I'm trying at this point in my life to put everything in the perspective of what my major purpose is, or what my major core belief is, and hopefully everything can align there. This way, I can say, like Paul says, that this one thing that I do, therefore putting those things behind me and setting before me the mark or the prize of the high call. So if you could put that main thing, that most important thing, in the forefront of your mind, I believe you'll walk with more focus and more purpose in what you're doing.
I think we got to realize that the flesh is weak, but we don't depend on the flesh. We depend on the spirit. So either you can be a slave to it, or it can be a slave to you. You have to put it under subjection. So you or we have to continue to work on ourselves to build ourselves up to who he says we can be, not who we think we are, because we can have a minimalistic view of ourselves and we can keep ourselves boxed in, whereas he's allowed us to have free reign and flourish. We just have to discipline ourselves to the point to where we can acknowledge that we're weak in some areas that we need to work on, and other areas that we're strong on, just keep strengthening those.
Distractions are never going to go away. That's what we've been sitting here talking about. That distractions are also directly tied to our growth. And if the amount of time or what we do with those distractions that come into our life is directly tied to the destination that we're heading down. So if every time you're a distraction, you're just prolonging your growth, you're just hindering yourself from getting to your goal or getting to that point, you're just hindering yourself from getting there at a faster rate. Not all distractions are bad. Not all distractions are good. At the end of the day, we have to be accountable for how we choose to handle the distractions that come up in our life, because they are directly tied to our growth as an individual and as a person.
Greatly appreciate everybody's wise words. Again, I hope this conversation helped. I think for the most part, we got to be intentional about our energy. Be intentional about where we focus our energy at. Like, it's too easy for you to be pulled left and right and so forth and so on. We got to look at the word distraction, right? And I'm saying it that way intentionally, distraction, because whatever pulls me away from whatever it is I'm working on, I lose traction with whatever it is I'm working on. Whatever pulls you away from your purpose, you lose traction in your purpose. Whatever pulls you away from your relationship, you lose traction in your relationship. So what we have to do is become more intentional about where our energy is going, so that we can actually maintain traction and continue to press forward and keep marching on. And those are my final thoughts. Listen, greatly appreciate you guys. I know we went a few minutes over tonight, but I greatly appreciate all the wise words from every person on this panel. I love everybody's comments in the chat. As always, you guys are value added. Again, we greatly appreciate you being a part of the show. Listen, do not forget to like this show. Do not forget to share it to somebody who is trying to increase their focus, right? To kind of make sure that they have more concentration to accomplish whatever it is they want to accomplish. That being said, you guys have an amazing rest of your evening and an awesome weekend. And we will see you guys Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Coach's Corner. You don't put that start out.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
We'll see you guys Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Coach's Corner. And again, next Friday right here at 8 p.m. on the Hearts for Men podcast. Enjoy the rest of your evening and let the best version of yourself be a blessing to somebody else.